Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis Tzeng. I'm here with
Josh Weyers.
Yes, and we're going to talk about some game news. Not a lot of big news this week, but a lot of kind of medium to small news.
Yeah.
You can run through. Actually, we're supposed to have Tom Reinman here from the Collider website team. He actually got to go to. I was supposed to go to Doom. I talked about it last week. Did not get to go to Doom because something came up, but he did go to play Doom Eternal. He played the first 3 hours of it.
Is that where we got that footage from?
Yeah. So if you look up on the YouTube channel right now, the Collider Games YouTube channel, you'll see 15 minutes of gameplay footage that he played. Also, he was supposed to come and talk about Mortal Kombat 11, the Joker DLC. He got to play that. Some of that footage is on the website as well, the YouTube channel as well, also on the website. But yeah, hopefully maybe next week he'll come and talk to us about that. Let's start off with the first one. This one I was super excited. You sent this to me.
I knew you'd be excited when I saw this as well.
Yes, because it's one of my favorite games.
And we had speculations. We thought, we've said in previous podcasts that we thought that there was definitely going to be delays. And according to the piece of news we got, I guess they said they're done with the game. They're just tweaking the final scene of the game.
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx. We keep speculating that it's going to be delayed because everyone else is delayed, but they're like, it's done. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about Valve time, they said.
Yes. Don't worry about Valve. It's not even Valve time. I'm worried about, just everyone's doing it. Like, we have another, we're going to talk about the Dying Light 2, delayed with no release date later. But to them, they're like, it's done. It's ready. They've been working on this.
And then the index has been, the index is sold out in every single place I think they said except for one place. Everywhere you can buy a Valve Index, it's been sold out. Or pre-order one, it's been sold out, except for one place, they said. Which means that they're on top of things. They're like, things are going well. The exact phrase they used was, they doubt that there will be a delay. They highly doubt there'll be one, I think.
I mean, they said the game is done. They're just doing bug fixes and polishing.
Yeah. Unless, it's one of those things where someone finds something last minute, we'll talk about it just now to talk about Dragon Ball Z, but there was a 10 gig day one patch to DBZ, which I didn't play it before the day one patch, but according to whatever they added, I'm very glad that I played it with that day one patch. So, I don't know. I think it looks promising. If the game's done, what other reasons could they have, except for maybe they want more sales on the index or something? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it's done, that's great. If it's actually going to come out in March, that's awesome. I did highly doubted it before, but I guess now that they're saying this, I'm a little more confident that they
would be shooting themselves in the foot, Dennis, if they did delay it after this.
Why?
If they had to do a delay, they'd really be shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. Even if it's a 2-week delay.
Especially since they're so emphatic about this.
Yeah.
It's done. They plan on releasing gameplay videos before launch that are going to show gameplay elements that use the VR specific, showing us why this is in VR, what kind of gameplay things that you can't get from just using a controller, which I think is very, very cool.
Yeah.
I bought, not just for this game, but I bought a new graphics card for my computer because mine was outdated. Couldn't run even the simplest VR games.
Oh, damn.
So I bought a new graphics card for my computer. I think I got a RTX 2060 EVGA because they kind of introduced this kind of lower cost line for it. I think it was $300.
Do you know if that has anything to do with the whole data mining thing? I know every now and then graphics cards become either tremendously more expensive because of data mining, and then there are times where they become extremely cheaper because of data mining. And Bitcoin mining, etc.
Yeah, I think that has died down a little bit.
So the prices are a bit more regulated now.
Yeah,
which is good.
I think they are trying to compete against AMD because AMD has a card that's supposed to be comparable performance.
You talking about the Ryzen 5?
I forgot which model it was, but they had a graphics card that was comparable, and they lowered the cost, or their cost was $280, so
they got to match it.
RTX 2060s were closer to the $350, $360 range.
How much RAM are you running nowadays?
I have 24 gigs of RAM.
Oh, so you got
yeah.
plenty,
So that's the thing
is
my
VR,
processor and my RAM are decent enough, even though it's an older computer. But so my graphics card was not. So I felt like instead of buying a whole new computer, I just need to swap out the graphics card. I still haven't installed it yet, so it remains to be seen.
I'm kind of in a, speaking about computer parts while we're on this topic, I'm kind of at a catch-22 where it's like I'm obviously, like I said, moving at the end of February.
Yeah.
And my question is to myself really is, I need to get a new graphics card and some more RAM. I got 8 gigs of RAM. I prefer to have 16, no less than that.
Yeah, 16
you know what I mean?
is minimum.
Nowadays, it's minimum, yeah. Like, I've got this computer so long ago. It's
8 gigs is what you need on a laptop minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
Even my laptop is like, this thing is, I think, 16.
Like, mind you, the only games
or 12, I can't remember.
Like, mind you, the only games I play on PC are like StarCraft 2. So it's like, I don't really need that 16 gigs of RAM just yet, you know? Especially with Warcraft 3 Reforged coming out, I think, next week. I'm probably going to be hopping back on my PC. But my question is now, should I rather just sell my computer here or upgrade the graphics card and RAM?
Is it desktop?
It's a desktop, yeah. I prefer desktops because I just like switching.
If I were you, I would.
Because I'm thinking
I'd probably just sell my computer and buy a new one.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of the shipping costs to get it all the way back to South Africa as well.
Yeah.
I'd rather it's going to cost so much. The thing is, parts are cheaper here in America for tax reasons and import reasons. Like electronics are a lot cheaper here in America compared to where I'm from. I don't know. Like I've been working.
Well, look at what the cost is then.
Yeah.
Check out what the cost is.
Like I said, I got to look out for the cost of how much it's going to cost to ship it over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess gaming related. But yeah, I'm glad you're upgrading. That's going to be good. So you can give a good review for Half-Life Alyx when it comes out.
Yeah, tied to this, I actually put it last, but I should have put it with this, was the entire Half-Life collection is free on Steam. Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, all free.
And then
until March, they basically want you to play it, get hooked. If you haven't played Half-Life, they want you to get hooked into the franchise, because if you haven't played before, or if you're like me who has played it, just get reinvigorated and pumped up. Because look, I most likely wouldn't have bought the old ones, especially the first one.
Yeah.
Because
I was going to say I own Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Episode 2, as well as Black Mesa, which is not really. It was like a fan-made game, co-op Half-Life game. I enjoyed that too, but it's because I played Half-Life so much when I was younger. I never felt the need to actually buy the game, but it's been so long, so incredibly long. Especially I think it's important to play Half-Life 1 now because Half-Life Alyx takes place right in between Half-Life 1 and 2. And I remember Half-Life 2 very well, but I don't really remember much of Half-Life 1, so it's going to be very good for me to revisit that before seeing anything about Alyx or even playing Alyx.
Yeah. All right, so Half-Life Alyx, they say it's coming March. I'm more inclined to believe them now because I feel like why even put it out there, you know?
Exactly. Why even talk about it
like if it was potentially delayed, they'd just be like.
And it's the fact that it came from 2 other sources as well from the company.
And also they said the game's done. It's just bug fixes and whatnot. All right, let's move on to another topic that actually isn't in the rundown, but you had sent to me.
Yeah, so it's exciting though.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic remake rumor. So the rumor is that, and this is coming from a Cinelinx, I believe that's the name of the outlet. Anyways, the rumor is that they are remaking the Knights of the Old Republic, and it's possibly combining the two together, the first and second one. I have to be honest with you, I didn't like the second one as much as the first one. Yeah, it was a bit slower.
I mean, the fact that you can play the first one on your cell phone and they didn't release the second one for your cell phone says a lot. You know?
Yeah, like the first one to me was like one of my all-time favorites.
Iconic,
where the second one was like, it was cool, but it wasn't like the first one.
Oh yeah, didn't have that. Well, I think it was almost like a reskin with just some other story elements. You know what I mean?
So basically what they want to do is they want to keep basically the game very similar, but change some of the story elements to fit into.
They want to make it canon. So, So the thing, from what I was able to gather from a couple of these rumors and leaks, was that it's going to be a combination of KOTOR 1 and 2 together, and I think they're going to be using a lot of the elements they said and making it canon. But the way they phrase that obviously points out that they're probably going to not be using a bunch of other elements from the game too, because it's not canon and they can't really make it canon. But I mean, they linked it back to, I think, the new Star Wars, or it was either The Last Jedi or the most recent Star Wars. They kind of confirmed one of the entities from Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes, Revan.
Yes.
They had a Revan Legion or whatever. So,
I hope that they modernize. I mean, like, as much as I would love a remake from the ground up, or then again, one of the sources was saying it's almost like a sequel, which leads me to believe that it's because like they said, they're using some elements, but not all the elements, and then it's Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 probably put together. It's going to be, I think like the one guy calling it a sequel and the one guy calling it a remake, I can see where there's some confusion there. I almost see it as an entirely different, more like a reboot than a remake, you know? I think that'd be more accurate to say it'd be like a reboot. I hope that they modernize it, like I saw with the Final Fantasy franchise when they went from turn-based to active combat, and we've seen it do really well with Respawn doing...
and like Resident Evil 2 Remake, they've changed the controls to modernize it. So yeah, and I had mentioned before when we had, I don't know how many episodes we talked about it and how I wish they remade it and modernized the combat instead of the turn-based system.
Because everything else is, I think, perfectly fine. They don't need to change the skill trees, the RP, like the conversations. Not just the combat needs to be more. Well, like I said, less turn-based, not even active turn-based, but more like the Respawn game that Jedi Fallen Order, you know?
Am I blanking? I don't think there was voices in the first one. I don't think it's voice-based.
No.
It's text-based.
It's all
so
text-based,
if
all your dialogue options. I think that there were, like, you had your cutscenes, but like no one, like the NPCs didn't have voices. You just had to read it.
That would be nice touch if they went in. I don't know how far. One, we don't know if this rumor is true or not. Two, what they're gonna do. But
it's all speculation at this point. But it is exciting news nonetheless.
Oh yeah,
and it's the closest thing to a real confirmation we've had in a long time.
And also, I'm not a huge remake guy, reboot guy. Usually, like for example, the only reason I bought Last of Us for PS4 was because I had that glitch on the PS3 version and I never got to finish it. I think if I had finished it, I don't think I would have bought the PS4 version of it.
I mean, completely understandable.
But this is something where no, I definitely am getting this if this is true. You know what I mean? Like
I'm all for remakes and remakes and even reboots when it's a game that's old enough to kind of deserve one. You know what I mean? Like the Last of Us 2 remaster. Sorry, the Last of Us remaster was nice, but it was just a slight update in the graphics. Whereas like a game from 20 years ago, you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to change the gameplay mechanics, everything about it. Sometimes it's also the exact opposite, and you get a home run with like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro, where it's the exact same game but just smoother and the updated graphics. But then you look at games like Final Fantasy VII coming out. You know what I mean? It's completely new. It's for one, it's not 2D. It's not like 8-bit. You know what I mean? It's old enough to deserve that, and I think it's the same with Knights of the Old Republic. Even the camera view, they can go more modernized with that. You don't have to have this like third person bird's eye view camera. We can make it more like third person following, and it deserves it. So I hope it's real. Speaking of that, one of the other things that got rumored for a remake was Ssx Tricky, which is also a game I believe old enough that deserves a remake, and people have been asking for it for years. And the developers have finally spoken out and said, we've been wanting to do one for years, but we don't own the IP. So it's all up to EA and Ssx, the people who own the IP, to do another one.
Speaking of IPs and things working on, Valve came out and denied that they were working on Left 4 Dead 3.
No, that's a bummer, man.
They said the rumors, because there's been rumors.
Yeah, and then there was even that wasn't there like that image that's spelled with like the 3 fingers, like Left 4 Dead 3.
So they came out and said nope, not happening.
Unless it is happening, and that's just like a genius PR stunt.
I mean,
it's probably not happening.
No,
they're working on Alyx. They're manufacturing the index. They got a lot going on. So.
And they're printing money with Steam. So
they're literally printing money.
So next thing we've got up is let's see here. We've got your Dragon Ball Z review.
Yes. I'll dive into this right now.
Okay.
So, as I think I told you before, and I'm very firm on this. I think as an overall game, I give it a 7.8 out of 10. As a Dragon Ball Z game, I give it over 9,000 out of 10. Because it's definitely something that is. It's such a beautiful game if you're a fan of the series, and there are some people who. Before the time, I wouldn't say speculated, but before the time, they were more pushed away from it because they're like, I don't want to relive the same story for the 100th freaking time in the 10th freaking game, you know what I mean? Yes, you are doing that, but it's so magical, and they really nail it this time. Like, they absolutely nail it. Like, previously, you're kind of watching these cutscenes and then fighting them, but you're kind of, in this one, you're fighting throughout the cutscenes, and you're getting these updated cutscenes, and it's the whole story from Dragon Ball Z, from the beginning all the way till the end. It's in 4 different arcs. You got the first arc with the Raditz and the Saiyans and all that. And then you have your second arc, which is the Frieza arc, and the Namekians and all that. Then you have your third arc, which is the Androids and the Cell saga, and your fourth arc, which is the Buu saga. And there's intermissions in between that. I haven't finished the game yet because of the Dragon Ball system in the game. When you use the Dragon Balls, you have to wait about 20 minutes real lifetime before you can use them again.
Oh, really? Real lifetime?
Real lifetime. You got to wait 20 minutes real lifetime before you can use the dragon. I mean, they are kind of OP. They're the Dragon Balls. you can make wishes, but you use the Dragon Balls. There's a certain point in time where you use the Dragon Balls to revive previous enemies so that you can fight them again as a higher level. It's kind of a cool way of keeping you interacted. I was worried about the side quests hopping into this, but I found the side quests very refreshing. Like, a lot of them were like fetch quests or just go here and do this kind of quest, but I enjoyed the little slice of life moments that were happening in between these big epic arcs that I was watching on TV as a kid. The fishing system is shallow, I think. I think even the cooking system is kind of shallow, but it's there, and I'm glad that they put it in there. I like the skill trees. They did a good job with the skill trees. The way that you level up your character progressively, giving him new powers to use, like, for instance, Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, etc. You upgrade your super moves, you level them up. You don't just play as Goku. I'm sure a lot of people know this. You get to play as Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Trunks, Gohan. Pretty much a lot of the characters, and there are points in time where you have all these characters to choose from to change your party as to how you want to play the game, which is really cool. Completely single player. I love it. I can't wait to see where the DLC goes. My one gripe with the game is, and this is something that apparently they fixed in the day one patch. There was a 10 gig day one patch. The game was supposed to be about 34 gigs big. I installed it. It was supposed to be 34 gigs. I got it at like 47 gigs. And the day one patch was to fix the load times. And they also added new fast travel locations. And having played this game, I'm trying to think, if they didn't add those extra fast travel locations and they didn't add this day one patch, I would have hated the game because the load times are a pain in the ass. And the 10 gig patch was supposed to fix the load times. And the load times so I can't even imagine how bad the load times must have been before this 10 gig patch. And there must have been a simple way to go around this because there are parts in the side quest where you got to it's going to be dialogue. Me and you, Dennis, are talking, and then I need to go talk to somebody else. But because he's in a different part of the world, I have to load up that whole that whole map and that whole area, load it up just to get the 2 words out of his mouth to then go back to the other area, just to have a small cutscene. So, I did a side quest this morning that probably took me 20 minutes just because I had to I had one fight and I just had to fly to one place, load the whole area, say 2 words of dialogue, fly back to the other place, say another 2 words of dialogue. I was playing middleman between 2 people. So that was a bit annoying.
Which is fine if the load times are very quick.
And they are, but when you're experiencing a load time literally every almost 30 seconds, because it's literally, "Hi Dennis, how are you doing? I'm doing good, and you?" Okay, load time onto the next map. That's where it starts getting as an issue, but overall, yeah, like I said, as a game, 7.8 out of 10. As a Dragon Ball Z game, they smashed it out of the park. If you are a fan of the series, you will love this game. I haven't heard anything bad about it from a fan at all. If you like the fighting style from the Xenoverse games, you'll be more familiar to this, and it's a lot more fun. the game gets more tricky when you're fighting more than one person at a time. Like, so you can't just spam your attacks. You got to like think your attacks out at certain points. And the level progression system is good. If you're fighting someone five levels above you, you will struggle. If you're fighting someone 5 levels below you, you'll like clean the table with them. If you're fighting someone that's the same level of you, it's actually so well balanced. Like, you feel like it's a good challenge. That being said as well, I never really saw a difficulty setting in the game. I don't know if there is one. I was so excited, I just jumped right into the game.
How many hours of gameplay is it?
I think the main story is supposed to be something like 30, but I've been playing for more than that. And I'm only,
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm only on the third arc, and I've played way more than that. But it's because I like to do all the side quests, and then, like I said, the Dragon Ball wait time and all these other things. Wrapping up, what was I going to say? Yeah, if you're a fan of the series, you're going to love it. If you're not, then not so much. Haven't heard anything bad about it so far. So, yeah, they really know. They did a great job with this game. I'm very happy with it. It's everything I wanted it to be. And I had some worries in the beginning that like the open world exploration might be a bit dead end, but it's nice. Everything feels like it's lived in, and you feel like you're in Toriyami's mind, like experiencing it.
How many Dragon Ball Z games have an open world RPG, action RPG like?
None really. Like,
so this is the first one? Because I know they have Dragon Ball Z fighting games.
Like Dragon Ball Fighters was basically just Marvel vs. Capcom. That's literally what Dragon Ball Fighters is. It's Marvel vs. Capcom, but Dragon Ball Z characters. We had a Dragon Ball Z, the Budokai series way back in the PlayStation 2 game. I loved those. There were kind of moments like in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 that was kind of open world, which I liked, similar to this game, but it was like the fights, you go into a fight and it doesn't change. In Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the fight happens where you are in the world at that time. Like, you're not going to go to like an arena and then have your 2v2 fight, you know what I mean? No, this really it pushed it to its limits. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do for DLC, because they're going to have to. I can see them doing a good chunk of Dragon Ball Super in this world, because they just have to add a couple extra levels to be able to pull that off.
Cool. All right, so that's Dragon Ball Z. How do you pronounce it?
Kakarot.
Kakarot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting that they went with that name. I mean, he is the main character, but like I said, there are a lot of points in time in the game where you're not playing as Kakarot, who is Goku. You're not playing as him all the time. But yes, the level, I really enjoyed. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Having played where I am up until this point, I don't know if there was a difficulty setting before jumping in. I just jumped in and started playing it. I enjoyed the difficulty that it was at, but I never once got, because it rates your fights on like an A, B, C, S rank kind of thing. I've only once or twice gotten an A rank. Every other time I've gotten an S rank. So it's, I don't know. And then like there's no in between. It's either that or I lose the fight. You know, I either completely lose the fight or I get an S rank.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's my other quarrel about it. But I loved it. It's fun. I binged the crap out of it.
I imagined. All right, next one. We mentioned this before, lightly touch upon this. Dying Light 2 got delayed. It was supposed to release this spring, but there's no release date. So, like, you know, Cyberpunk 2077, they're like, sorry, guys, we're going to do a delay because we got to do all this stuff to it. But they gave, like, September in an actual date, where this one, they're like, don't know. Yeah,
that's kind of worrying.
Yeah,
I mean, this is like,
I would assume also the fall. That's just what I would guess.
There's the letter. I mean, speaking of delays as well, I mean, this isn't too. I guess it's kind of related to what we were talking about since we spoke about Star Wars. But the fact that the Obi-Wan series is suspended indefinitely is heartbreaking for me, Dennis. Like, it's absolutely and Ian McGregor said he read the scripts and they were like, they're promising, they're wonderful. The scripts are wonderful.
But apparently they want to go back and redo the scripts.
Oh, I mean, I just want the series, man. Like, I don't. To be honest, I almost don't even care much about like the story. I just want to see Ian McGregor use a lightsaber, and I want to see the behind the scenes, because you know he's going to be making the sound effects with his mouth again. He's going to do that.
Because the rumor was that it was completely canceled, but apparently it's not. It's just that they want to go. They stopped. They were going to go into production. I guess they stopped production, and they're like, all right, let's rework some of the scripts. I don't know coming from where, Kathleen Kennedy, someone else at Lucasfilm, and they want to rework it and then do it. So
I wonder if that has any. I mean, obviously it has to do with the success of The Mandalorian. I'm wondering if they were worried that it wasn't going to match that quality, maybe.
Maybe.
That could be it. I mean, look, as long as I mean, it's also one of those things. The more they delay it, the more Ian McGregor's gonna fit the character, anyways.
Yeah.
Fit the role.
All right.
Dying Light 2 being delayed, that is unfortunate. There's a lot of fans out of the series. I know there's a lot of people who are, I wouldn't say like angry, but just sad.
Well, Adam Galloway, who does some sound mixing stuff here at Collider, he came in and he was upset that Dying Light, because he loved the first one. He was like, Dying Light 2 got... So,
and what we have seen from like Dying Light 2, it looks like it was going to be really good. You know what I mean?
All right. Next one is Splinter Cell's creative director is returning to Ubisoft. So Maxine Beland, he started as a game tester back in the day. Man, working up from a game tester.
Damn. That's intense.
And they, worked there for 20 years, and he served as the creative director for Rainbow Six Vegas, design director for Assassin's Creed, creative director for Splinter Cell Conviction and Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Blacklist was such a good game.
Then he left Ubisoft early last year to become the creative director at Epic Games. Worked on the Far Cry series, and then he left Epic Games at the end of last year, and now has rejoined Ubisoft. He also had tweeted out, I think in 2019 at some point, that he was working on the next Splinter Cell game, and then was just kidding, but everyone knew he wasn't just kidding because it wasn't a funny... Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't a funny tweet.
It was, yeah.
It was more like he said something that he shouldn't have said, and then he told...
Like, just kidding, but definitely not kidding. Absolutely serious.
So, everyone's waiting for a next Splinter Cell game. There's been, disappointing sales for their kind of last two series, Ghost Recon and The Division.
Which is also, I saw promise in The Division. It wasn't my kind of game. I want I really hope they go back to the old school Tom Clancy series style,
I mean, to me, I mentioned before, like, these games are coming out too often and they're too similar. Where Splinter Cell I'm excited about, because that franchise it's different, right? You're the solo guy.
The whole Spec Ops kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not squad based. It's not firefights.
The only thing that's as stealth and as big of a AAA game that I can think of is Metal Gear Solid, but even then, that's a completely different game. In terms of how you're playing it, that's. But yeah, the stealth and realism, like that's. I really miss that. I really miss the whole Spec Ops stealth mode of the old ones.
So hopefully this
single player
another sign that that's what's being worked on and what's coming down the pipe. And figure at this point of the cycle, it would be on one of the next gen systems.
Yeah,
and maybe they were working on it, and they're like, you know what?
I don't think I linked this to you, but I was reading up about why the Cyberpunk 2077 part of the reason why they think it got delayed is because of them preparing for the next gen console launch. They said they want to make sure that it's optimized as well for the PS5 as well as the Xbox One. The Xbox
if they have
Series
a version of that,
at least that's what one of the people working there at the company said, that they're working on optimization issues for the next gen console.
Now the question is, when is that going to come out for the next gen console? Because that'd be pretty awesome to play on PS5 or Xbox
on
One Series, Xbox Series X or whatever.
It'd be fun to do that on launch. Because what they said, September.
Well, September is when the current generation comes out.
Yes, I would imagine that gives them a couple of months as well to. I don't know. We'll see. But
maybe November.
I can see it being one of those situations where it's the same as GTA 5 and The Last of Us, where it's like it gets released at the end of this console's generation, if you will, and then it gets re-released right in the beginning on the next generation. Maybe a couple months into the next generation. Cool. I see that. I definitely see them do it.
Most people are not going to wait for the next generation just to play. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're going to play on what they have, and then if they love it that much, they'll buy the upgraded version. Quickly, Hellblade developer Ninja Theory announces Project Mara, which is a horror game. The Ninja Theory, which is behind Hellblade and also Heavenly Sword and Devil May Cry.
Did you ever play Heavenly Sword?
No, I did not.
That's still to this day on my list. I heard great things about that. That was on the PS3. I heard good things about it. I never played it. I've always wanted to, though.
So they want to work on this horror game called Project Mara. But remember, Ninja Theory was bought by Microsoft, so that will be an Xbox. It's definitely going to be exclusive. I mean, Our Worlds 2 is going to be an exclusive.
100%.
The only reason it wasn't exclusive is they bought them when it was like, I don't know if it was mid-cycle or end of cycle.
Yeah.
And they already had put all the money in development and marketing for the people.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, even Microsoft buying them was like, it's not worth killing that version because Microsoft already knows they lost the Xbox, the current generation, right? They're obviously going to, keep doing what they can, but they're not going to sacrifice money.
It's almost like it happens in cycles if you look at it. Like the PS2 dominated, the Xbox 360 dominated, now the PS4 is dominating, and who knows, maybe the Series X is going to dominate because I know they've been marketing a hell of a lot better than Sony has.
Yes.
So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. It's all going to be exclusives, and every game. Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy. Because I didn't really. This is a hot take. A lot of people might not agree with me. I personally wasn't a fan of Hellblade Senua. Just not my. It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It was a beautiful game, but it wasn't my type of story or my type of game. So I just love Ninja Theory, man. I've yet to play a game from Ninja Theory that I have not enjoyed. They're usually always badass and intense. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. It sounds cool as well.
Yeah.
A real world and grounded representation of mental terror. So it's going to be a psychological thriller, I guess, something along those lines.
And then we have Sonic the Hedgehog, this movie that's been highly talked about, not for good reasons, but then later it's kind of like almost like a redemption story, right?
It is. Yeah, you're right. It's a good redemption story.
So like now they turn.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
They turn the kind of negative headlines into more positive headlines. Anyways, it's tracking for. It's not coming out until
I think it's coming
mid-February.
Yeah, just a couple days before my birthday.
And it's going to track. It's tracking at I think 40+ million, which is pretty good for a movie that's cost a little under 100. People, including myself, did not think it would break 25 opening weekend.
Are we talking domestic?
Yeah, for opening.
Yeah, we're talking. Okay, yeah,
for
not international, but
not international.
I was going to say,
domestic.
Those numbers. I was thinking international. I was like, those numbers are really low.
No, definitely is going to be making more than that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes sense to me. 40. I can. You know what? We're a little while away. Maybe we can have a throwback about this when it comes away. I'm going to go ahead and put my money on. Say it's gonna. I think it's going to do better. I think it's going to do 60 on opening weekend.
Oh wow.
I think it's going to do 60 on opening weekend.
All I gotta say is
domestically.
I'm happy
or
for
58.
Them because the redesign was much needed.
Yes, and I almost feel, I know we don't really owe it to them to go watch the movie because we don't owe anything to them, but I kind of feel obliged. I was one of the people who complained, and then they fixed it, and I was happy, and they used one of my favorite artists to fix it. So I kind of do feel obliged, even though I'm not obliged. So
I think it's just the right business decision.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, you have the creepy-ass one, the creepy-ass Sonic. You're not going to sell any merchandise. One, the movie is going to get torn apart for just the looks, right?
You said it, you glossed it over just now, but you're absolutely right, dude. Merchandising would have. Oh,
who wants to buy this gangly, long-legged? Yeah, like that's not cute. The redesign is cute.
Yeah,
it's like the original Sonic.
And it's gonna be. Oh, it's definitely gonna be a lot easier to produce toys along with the design that they went with now. The more cutesy approach. Yeah. It's gonna sell better. It's a much better idea. And then also just the fact that we're talking about it right now, we are still talking about it. You know what I mean? It's gone through so much, and even though it's been hell, it's been marketing. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm telling you, it looks infinitely better.
Oh yeah.
It looks like miles. One looked like this, like, what the old one looked like. It looked like when a foreign country doesn't want to pay IP rights.
So they do the parody rights.
and so they make something that's like similar to something popular.
Instead of Transformers, it's Transmorphers.
Yeah. So like that wasn't like Sonic the Hedgehog. That was like some sort of like Gronic, you know what I mean?
Chronic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
So now it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, there's some differences, but it definitely looks much better.
They also, like, I know I brought it up last time as well, but they fixed a lot of the CGI issues, not just regarding Sonic, but the actual effects around him. You know, like the lightning and all those things were redone as well, and it made it look a lot more real. Looking back at like the original trailer, there was a point in time where there's an explosion and the car gets flipped over, and the explosion is brighter than the sun, which is physically impossible. So they had to kind of make a couple changes that I'm glad they did. And they fixed some lighting issues with CGI. The lighting looks a lot better because when it comes to CGI, lighting it makes or breaks something, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, some of that stuff I think originally, you know, would have been done naturally just because of it. But remember, it was delayed because it was supposed to come out, I think, in the fall or winter of last year. I think it's all a good move. Delay it, make it look better. Better buzz about it. People are talking about it, how bad it is. Now everyone's talking about how good it looks. There you go.
If this movie
is this the new formula? Is this the new formula, right? Purposely mess up a beloved character, get everyone to start hating on it, then come in and save the day and fix it so it looks like it's good, and then people feel obliged to go see it. That is the new model, right?
They're going to do it with the Matrix 4. I'm telling you now, it's going to happen with the Matrix 4. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Matrix 4 because I know they can't get Agent Smith. Apparently, he says he's either refused to do the job or maybe they're not paying him his rate. I don't know, but yeah, yeah. Like if this movie makes a lot of money, I can definitely see a lot of companies following suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Next one, The Witcher, not the live action series, but they're making a live anime movie for Netflix called The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf. And what gets me excited more than just being The Witcher is that the team behind Legend of Korra and Voltron, Legendary Defender, and the two producers, Lauren Hisrich and Bo DeMeo, and Studio Mir, the Korean animation studio that's behind it, are going to do this as well. So that makes me doubly excited.
That was the part that got me the most excited. Exactly. You know what? Everything you just said. That's how I felt when I read the article earlier this week, and that was in my circle. It was literally announced as studio that does Legend of Korra doing the new Witcher movie. I thought it was going to be a series, but a movie is a smarter choice, I think, financially as well.
Yeah, and also
it's more doable
you
for
still
a team.
have the live action series going on. You don't want to like totally confuse what's going on.
Well, yeah,
it's like, look, you got the live action series, which is very popular. They said it's the most watched first season on Netflix with 76 million. Netflix likes to release numbers when it's good. They never release when it's bad. So they said 76 million members watched the series in the first 4 weeks of release. That doesn't mean they finished it from beginning to end, but they at least started it. Yeah. They at least started it.
I think, it's going to probably be its own standalone one. If anybody's read the books or played the game, there are so many standalone stories that you can we have the characters now established, not just within the video game world and pop culture world, but now it's a household. It's basically almost a household name. Everyone knows Geralt of Rivia now. You know what I mean? The Butcher of Blaviken. We all know the Butcher of Blaviken, but. So that's cool. So we're gonna get this. I think we're gonna get this movie, and it's not gonna tell us much about his origin because we don't need it. We don't need it. We've got the series. We got the games. We've got the books. So it's gonna be nice to. And it's just I'm excited for it because that studio knows how to pull off action, man. They know how to pull off, and they do these beautiful dynamic shots, and they know how to carry emotion as well through animation. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Here we go. These leaked pictures of prototype Xbox Series X and the ports on the back. It looks legit to me. Yeah. Look, people are saying they could be fake through 3D printing.
But why?
Some people just like attention. But anyways, it looks legit. It has ports. The one noticeable thing that's missing is a HDMI in port.
Okay.
Because I used to use it on my Xbox One. I don't use it anymore, but I used to use it when I used to have cable because I would output the cable into the Xbox One, and then I was able to, go through there to watch television. I don't have cable anymore. So that's less,
a lot of people don't.
Yes, less important, but it is still a nice feature to have. But since everything is app-based, you know.
Do you think we're going to get more than just 2 USB slots? Surely we'll get more. I mean, I see there's the 2 at the back, which leads me to... It doesn't look like there is anything on the front, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always a fan of having extra... That's a slightly annoying place to have the USB inputs. But hey, I guess it does make the front look sleeker, and everything's wireless, so who cares, you know? You're probably going to have your own separate like wireless charging station for your controllers anyways.
Yeah, so...
At least I do like the vents. They got bigger vents there, which...
I mean, it looks like a mini PC tower.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, that's what people are saying, you know.
Do we know if it's... We still don't really know if it's going to be... what's the word I'm looking for? Compartmentalized or no?
Modular.
Modular, wow. Yeah, we still don't know if it's going to be modular or not.
No. I think that's something that if they do announce that, if that is a feature, they'll announce it at E3.
Yeah, and then also, like we said, they'll probably have their own Xbox parts, like the official brand that you'll be buying for the upgraded graphics cards, etc. You know, you don't want to go third party when it comes to this, anyways. You know.
No. All right. I think is that it?
I will say a big DLC that came out this week for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be playing it later tonight. I just bought it this morning. Looking forward to it. I've gotten great reviews from all my friends. You get to play. Okay, anybody playing who has played Kingdom Hearts knows you get to play as Sora. Now you get to play as Riku, Roxas. You get to play as all the Keyblade wielders in the final chapter of the game. If you've played the game before, in the final chapter of the game, you're kind of running past all your teammates who are in these fights. Now you get to do those fights as your teammates, which is wonderful. You get to play as Kairi even, and it's just been wonderful. My friend finished it earlier today. He said it was fantastic, 10 out of 10. There's probably going to be more DLC. Still no Final Fantasy characters, but he says it's been great, and the fluidity of each character and how different each character's combat has been wonderful, he says. So that looks good. And then one of the other things I think it is coming out. I think it's either come out this week or it's coming out next week, but it's the PlayStation 4 back button that we spoke about recently. I'm actually going to be, if it did come out this week, I'm going to go pick it up at GameStop right now, and I can give you guys a review about that next week. I'm looking forward to it. It's basically just adding some extra buttons at the back of the controller there for you, but I'm looking forward to that. That looks cool.
Oh, I forgot to mention, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners has come out. I have a copy. I've played some of it, but I haven't gotten far enough to do a review, but I'm liking it. It's my type of game, right? It's one of those open world where you have missions, story based.
What are you playing it on?
Oculus Rift.
Oh yes, that's right.
It's not on Quest. It's not on Quest.
Yeah.
Not yet. They said they were going to talk. Right now, you can play it on Rift S, and
you spoke
and
about
HTC,
this a while ago. Yeah,
HTC Vive. So that it has come out now, and
man, there's so many leading up to Half-Life Alyx. There are so many VR deals going on, which we will probably be covering in the weeks to come up until the launch. But that's always good news. Man, I'm happy. I need to try that out at some point. If you ever bring it to the office, I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, bought my graphics card, not only for Half-Life Alyx, but so I can play.
I just had a big aha moment. I guess just because we have covered it up until now. New season of Apex is coming out. New character as well. New guns, etc., etc. Probably don't have much time to talk about that, but. Yes, there is a new season of Apex coming out, and obviously that means there's going to be a new character coming out. Looks quite cool. We'll probably speak more about that next week when I've actually got some experience on the new season and the new character.
Cool. All right, I think that's it. Anything else you want to talk about, or anything you're playing right now?
I mean, I'm probably going to go back to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the Kingdom Hearts 3, the Remind DLC. And still playing a lot of Fortnite, which is interesting. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why I play so much Fortnite. Yeah. I can't even give you a good reason, Dennis. But I go through like times where I'm playing a lot of Apex, or I stop and I play a lot of Fortnite. I think it's got to do with my friendship circles, like who's online at the time. And some people, like my one friend, he loves playing Fortnite but hates Apex. And I was like, you don't have to worry about building. Like, think about it. You don't have to worry about, like, and he's like, it looks too complicated. I was like, how is Apex more complicated than all the things you have to do in Fortnite?
Yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, so I've just been doing that and mainly watching a lot of anime.
Cool.
A lot of anime, yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, Josh, where can people find you before we take off?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki. You guys can follow me on Twitch at josh_toki.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. And also subscribe to our Collider podcast feed, which is the Collider Factory feed for this show every single week. Until next time, see you guys later.
See you next time.